Hello and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 290. Jeez, I'm getting old. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Too Fresh Crash. Crash, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing good, you know.
We gonna talk about your antics before the show, or are we gonna leave that up?
Do we got to? I was really hoping you would have mentioned it.
We're not bringing up your antics. And then, do you know what? You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to talk about it because I know someone who can relay it perfectly because they saw the whole thing. Mr. Matt P video. Matt, how are you?
It was a travesty, mate. It was the whole thing almost came crashing down.
So what happened? Because I kind of missed it. If I'm being honest, what happened?
You called us into a clap sync.
Yeah.
I went, you went. Crash managed to like knock everything on his desk over simultaneously. It was incredible.
I just want to add some context to.
Please
I've
do.
spilled coffee on my desk so
That's
many
true.
times.
That's
I've
true.
done it while we were recording before. This has happened to me.
Usually-
I'm very
Usually while we're streaming, it happens a lot.
yeah, it happens.
You just sort of hear, like my water bottle. I'm gonna bang it on it, like, oh shit! You're like, Chris, you're okay?
I wish this wasn't true, but it is absolutely true.
How is everybody? Are we all right? Matt, you're here. You're alive. To be fair, we killed you last week. It weren't your fault though. Like, it was my fault. I killed your episode, bro. I'm sorry.
We had such a good episode as
Dude.
well. Like, some people say it was the best episode ever recorded of My Xbox and Me.
Between me and you, like, Crash isn't here. Between me and you, I loved our episode. We did some really good talking about like EA's pattern and stuff and all that. And honestly, I come in and did it with Crash and I just phoned it in. It was one of those weeks where I was just like, I've spoken about this and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. Just take this episode, all right? We're not missing a week.
Well, to be honest, like when you try and rehash a topic and do
horrible.
it the same exact way, it never works out and it always sounds super
Horrible.
It would have been 50 million times worse if me and you, Fix, had come back on and recorded the whole thing, right?
I wouldn't even have bothered. I wouldn't even
have.
have bothered. I would literally would have shout out to Mr. Moody. He reached out. He was like, "Do you need somebody?" I'm like, "Maybe." Because I just might need a different opinion on this, you know. Just might need a different opinion. If you don't know what, yeah, Crash sucks. If you don't know what My Xbox and Me is, it's our weekly Xbox podcast right here on YouTube.com/My Xbox and Me and across all podcast services. Let me know. Did Google do it? I was fighting Google. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. They were like, just click here to reestablish like whatever the Google thing is. I clicked it. They're like, oh, we can't find this podcast. I was like, okay, Google. And I'm not talking about that stupid dot. I mean, the numbers are not big on YouTube, on Google. We're okay, guys. We're okay. We're big on iTunes. We're big on YouTube. Big, actually. Maybe a little bit of hyperbole there. You know, maybe I should talk into existence. The #1 Xbox UK-based podcast that's also bigger in America than it is the UK. I can't win. Guys, how are we? What we been playing? Anything interesting? What it's Crash? Have you actually played something other than Smite?
I beat Outriders.
We haven't got to what's in your box, but I'm proud of you. Yeah. I'm proud of you.
I started a different game as well.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Matt, you've been playing some video games?
Been playing some Outriders. I don't think I'm anywhere near beating it, but I'm having a blast.
We haven't played together in so long.
I know, we need to get on. If you both have beat it now, though, I'm way behind you. You know?
But don't worry about that, because remember, you can get the show early over on patreon.com/mcfix. I messed up the flow of the show. Make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channels, youtube.com/My Xbox and Me. And shout out to our Patreon producers, Erengard, FNH Paul, and Al Tribesman. Let's jump into what's in our box first, before we do topic of the show this week. Just because I already messed up the flow of the show. Crash, you finished Outriders?
I finished Outriders.
I'm proud of you, Crash. I'm proud of you. How did you find it all in all?
So I think my opinion on the gameplay probably stays the same through the whole thing. Where the gameplay is fun. I love the way the items work, the rolls and stats you can get on the item. I love that once you dismantle something, you get to keep that roll, so you can mod it into something else. But the items still matter what you roll on the item, which adds that sort of dopamine you get from a drop. Yeah. So you can't like change everything on it. You can only mod one mod on it. You can only change one of them. The other slot stays the same the whole time. I really like all that.
Okay.
The story is probably my biggest gripe, which we've sort of mentioned as well.
Yep.
The story just gets super dry. The characters feel very one note, which isn't necessarily, it's not a good thing, but it's not a bad thing for me for this game, because I don't like this game because of its story. I like the gameplay about it.
If I can interject there, I agree with you. I do agree with you in everything you said there. The one thing that does bug me is the story, though, because I'm not a sci-fi guy, and I've spoken about this so many times. And playing the demo, the opening of this game is actually the funnest part of its whole story. So if you played that demo 2 weeks, 3 weeks in beforehand, you already experienced all of the best story in this game, in my opinion. It's just, I was hoping for something a little bit more. I was hoping they were going to explore, like, oh, this isn't Earth, and like go a little bit deeper into that, and it just never, no spoilers obviously, but it never really gets there, does it?
No, it kind of jumps from point to point.
Yeah.
And it keeps introducing characters, but at no point does it ever really feel like it fleshes out characters.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people compare it to Mass Effect. Mass Effect does a really good job of having characters. It develops the characters. You get relationships with the characters.
Well, I played Andromeda, and even that, I played the first 4 hours of Andromeda. That's the only Mass Effect I've really ever touched on to. And even that had more character development than the whole of this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, which I think is the biggest fallback. I don't want to get too much into like some of the story beats because Matt hasn't finished it, but that honestly is like, it's the biggest drawback for me.
And I don't care at all. Like, I'm playing it with two of my mates from my hometown, and like, we are skipping every cutscene at this point. We just do not care. Like, it's weird, right? I think that almost does a disservice to the game, because the pacing of the game, if you do that, I think just falls apart. Like, we are literally talking to Jakob, going to a hub world, loading into that hub world, talking to one person, and then shooting straight off to another hub world sometimes. It's like, what are we doing? Like, there's nothing to do in these places. And that, again, does a little bit of a disservice. There are a lot of side quests in these places, and there's stuff to do. But we're just trying to sort of mainline the main quest line. And there's so much fade to black to go into one room, to pick up one thing, to come straight back out of that room, to talk to Jakob, to go to a new location. Like, it is... Yeah, it's not paced great if you're just in it for the gameplay. But then when you get to those gameplay sections and you get to some of those boss fights, it's an absolute blast. Like, the three of us are having a really good fun time playing it and looking forward to getting back to it each night.
Dude,
but yeah, the
end game though. I don't know, Crash, have you done any end game stuff?
I have not touched.
Okay, so I played end game Monday. I played end game. I played a little bit of Call of Duty and was like, I played Call of Duty. Little bit quick tangent. Played Call of Duty, my first game ever back. Yeah. Got 11 kills and came third. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm back. Played another game. I was like, I remember why I hate this game. I remember why I hate this game. But coming back, I played Endgame with a couple of people in my chat. A couple of people wanted to, like, I was like, oh, let me Sherpa you through. Again, I'm not spoiling anything in the Endgame, but the Endgame content is actually really fun. Like, a lot of fun. Like, the thing they've done there is actually so simple in its concept, but it's actually so enjoyable. And it gives you there's an end game of leveling. There's to get to the really high loot. There's like there's something separate from your world tier that then you get to level up again in the end game. So for really high players, they're going to be playing it on the highest difficulty, and then you can sort of go between there. There's this like there's a pod that comes and at the end of the mission, and just seeing the loot just spew out from that is so enjoyable. I can't wait until like a legendary finally drops for me from that. Like, that's where the game actually like really feels good to me.
Sure.
Is in its end game, because I agree with you. The pacing in terms of now they explained it, I understand why we've got the cutscene of jumping over the bridge or whatever the other things is. I understand it from a point of view of, I didn't understand it until they explained it, which was if one person is off picking up ammo and one person is jumping over the bridge, that person who's picking up ammo is not going to understand that the character's then moved. So,
but you have to accept it. Like, you have to, whoever initiates, we want to go to this new area, everybody then has to hit up on the D-pad to accept it. And so...
That's a fair point.
I agree with some of it. Some of it I understand. Oh, it's giving us a little bit more context for this thing. But the other day, it's not a spoiler, right? But
no, you're good. You're good. You're good for spoilers. No one's going to care. So it's just, I'm not going to say anything just in case someone does care, but you're good. Go.
Sure. You fight this giant snake thing in the forest, right? Which is a really cool boss fight. The way that happens is you turn up in your car, right, with Jakob, right? You fade to black and you're in this area.
Yep.
You literally walk maybe 5 steps to a rock wall in front of you.
Yep.
Hold down square. It fades to black. You climb that rock wall, and then the 3 of you are there fighting that boss. Just spawn me in fighting the boss. Like there's no added benefit to that section before.
I actually disagree with that. It's if you need to change your skills and weapons around and do any of that stuff. Because if you're doing there, you can't pause the game once you're fighting the boss. Like if they spawn you directly to the fight of the boss. And as soon as you load into the area, the boss encounter begins.
Yeah, right.
Can I give credit where credit's due there? You're 100% right there, Christian. I didn't think of it. But I died a couple of times and needed to then switch out guns. Yeah. So
I noticed it because I was playing solo. That's why a lot of those parts are there.
Damn. Yeah. And also, are we going to take his card away? He said square instead of X. Are we like... We're just going to glance over that?
Did I?
What are we doing?
Did I really? I'm not playing.
Action replay it, everybody! Because I told you he said square. How dare you?
I'm playing on Xbox, so I don't know where that came from.
I bit my tongue while getting really hyped there. I just bit my tongue. Anyway.
We see you being a spy out here. We're going to keep our eye on you. One more slip of the tongue, you're out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I'm still enjoying it. I'm looking forward to everybody getting to endgame and wanting to play more, because that's where I'm at right now. I'm in that weird period of, I don't really want to go back and help people because I want to play endgame, but I also don't have the 2 other people that I don't mind helping people get to where I'm at endgame level, but I don't want to go back and do all the story because like it's like the pace and stuff. Like I'd rather just do the stuff that I've got going. So I'm like,
100%.
But are there going to be enough people that want to keep going by the time they get to endgame is what worries me.
Yeah, I think the story not being great is kind of a problem for the game in the long term. Whereas like, what's the reason you keep playing the game? And the only reason there would be because it's fun, and that's good. That lasts a while, but at some point the fun runs out. And it varies for people. There isn't like that, oh, I need to be ready for the next content or the next place the story is getting to. Like comparing it to something like Destiny always sets up like the next villain or the next bad guy that they're going to be working towards.
Yeah.
Granted, like Destiny has a whole bunch of issues with its process in getting to that villain, but there always is that like, I will come back for that person, or I will like, I'm interested in that and I'll keep an eye out for that, where I don't know exactly where this game's going to be getting that from. But then again, this game also might not even be working towards that at all. That might not be their end goal.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it? And we just don't know. Like I think the way that you could do that and keep those people around is by doing it in waves, right? And saying, here's the next big content drop. Here's this big badass you're going to be fighting. Here's where you need to be, and we're going to give you double XP or something for the next week. So jump back in, get to that spot with your mates, and then when that hits, you're going to have that content to run through with those guys again. And I think that could be the way to do it, but they've almost shot themselves in the foot by saying this is not game service. This is what the game is. And we just don't know if there's anything else coming.
I disagree. I only disagree because with them saying it's not games as service, I think they actually got a lot more people. They did a bad job of explaining what it was, but by saying it was not a games as a service, I think people, as soon as you hear games as service, you instantly think Destiny, right? And people the deep people that play Destiny think that's a second job. And I think that's the thing they were scared of, which is this game isn't that. This game is super casual. It's super easy to understand. It's literally, it's like I say, it's more akin to a Borderlands than it is anything else. Go on, Crash.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I think it's like a third-person Diablo game. That is literally what this is.
I've never played Diablo, but that's what I've heard.
So Diablo has like the torment levels, which are basically the world levels. The loot's basically Diablo type, where you're getting different roles on it to get different builds going and all that stuff. It feels very, very, very Diablo-esque, which is a more casual experience. I could see them doing that and just adding expansions over time and growing it out that way.
Yeah.
But without like, my problem with that is without a clear sight into it, with this game being compared so much to Destiny, even if it isn't Destiny, you still have to wonder like, what's coming next? Why am I playing this game instead of playing a Destiny or Division or whatever it is? I almost said Anthem, but no one's playing Anthem anymore.
Man, it hurts. It still hurts. It still hurts. Yep, send it off. Pour one out. Pour one out. There you go. Have some water. Have some agua. I think we touched enough there. Anything else we've been playing other than Outriders?
Octopath Traveler.
Oh, on PC or on Xbox?
Xbox.
Nice.
I was gonna play it on PC.
Oh, your PC would melt.
But you can't use your mouse to control anything on PC. It literally makes you use the WASD keys. Like you can't So I was like, this is way too
yeah.
weird. I'd rather just play with the controller if that's the case, if that's what you're going to make me do.
Sure.
So I was like, this will probably be a little bit more leisurely if I play with the mouse and keyboard and I'm trying to like relax.
Yeah.
Can't do that. You need a controller. I was like, that's fine. I'll just play with the controller. It's easier anyway.
How is it? Because I've still not played it. I really do want to play it.
Yeah, I really, really like it. I remember when the demo came out on the Switch way back when, I really enjoyed it, and I just never got around to it. I'm really glad this came out. It's a lot of fun. I really like the way the combat works, and the way it works is you pick one character. There's a whole slew of characters. You pick a character, and then instead of like you only playing that character's story, you go around and recruit different characters and sort of play through their stories as well. On top of like each character interacts with the world differently, and the way the combat works is kind of Persona-ish, with characters having weaknesses and opening them up to offensive attacks and stuff like that. It's a really interesting system that I think works really well. So yeah, I think if you're an RPG fan, a JRPG fan, 100% try Octopath Traveler.
I mean, it coming to Game Pass for me, as someone I probably will know, I'll probably never finish it. Like realistically, unless it really grabs me. But I do want to try it out. And I remember when they got announced for Game Pass, and I was super hyped about it. And it's just one of those things. You know, when I think about that game, I'll go, "That's 100 hours." I don't have 100 hours right now. But I'm waiting. I'm thinking about getting a is it called a Kishi? The Razer one. I'm thinking about getting one of those and just start cloud streaming to my iPhone until xCloud comes, and then hopefully then I'll be able to play more games. Like me and Haley are watching this stupid. This is where my life is at. My Xbox and me audience. This is where I've got to. Right. I'm now watching shows called Marriage or Mortgage on Netflix.
Oh, it's great. I finished it last week. It's great.
I hate you. I just want you to know I hate you, and the fact that you admit that you like it, Matt, tells me too much about you, right? Because I love it as well.
Spot, right?
I love it as well, and it's not a good thing, though. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. But yeah, I'd love to be able to play a game while that's on. Like, that would be perfect for me to look up and go, oh, yeah, they picked Marriage. Yeah, great, good. Idiots. They should have picked a house every single time.
Oh, they should always pick the house. They should always pick the house.
You see the houses in this show? Yo, Americans, I want you all to know, your houses are humongous.
Because they got all that land, and I think they filmed it all in the south as well, so they've got like just fucking land everywhere.
That's why.
Hey, Americans, don't worry about where you're actually for. Do not think about facts right now. You got land, and I respect you. Even if you're living in New York right now with an apartment, you got Chris. Why are you piping up? You've moved. You actually do have land now. Get out of here with all this rubbish. I'm not having it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I played a little video. Oh, go on, Matt. You can go first.
No. I thought we were moving on. You go first.
I played Resident Evil Versus. They've reopened the beta for people that had already had it downloaded. So I played a couple more games. Now, last week episode, I was a bit wishy-washy about where I sat with it. I enjoyed it. I wasn't ready to say it was a good game, obviously. I played probably about 6 or 7 games now in total. Enough to get my fill of the beta, because I want something to progress to. I actually don't think this is a bad game. I think on the surface, when I first saw it with the comic book art style and it just being like a multiplayer Resident Evil game, it was just like, this doesn't work. After playing it and understanding how the game works a little bit more, the Resident Evil fan in me actually really likes it. In terms of, think about the Resident Evil gameplay with a couple of extra abilities, and it's just dumb fun. Like, no, I don't think this game is worth buying it on its own, but as something that comes a part of Resident Evil Village, I think it has potential. I still stand by the fact, and I don't think I said it on Chris's episode, but I did say it on Matt's episode, which is I still stand by the fact that this is a learning curve for them when it comes to multiplayer networking and coding. I think they want to start building Resident Evil into... They did it wrong with 5 and 6, and I think they know that. But they've got Outbreak, they've got Outbreak 2, and I think this is just a test case for all of that. But the crux of Resident Evil Versus, I actually kind of enjoy it. I think if it has private matches, it could be a lot of fun with you and 7, 8 friends. Like, you're all turned into enemies. You can play as a Gamma, Nemesis, Tyrant, Jack. Like, the enemy types that you play as are fun, and they don't stay around long enough to feel overpowered, because you have like a ticking time bomb of when you're going to die, unless you like keep killing people sort of thing. it's really good. Each character, like Jill, Claire, Ada, whoever, all have their own unique guns and abilities and stuff. So there's like mix match of like Ada does this weird thing where it's like does a stun, and it has really a big range, but it also leaves her vulnerable for a while. So there's a lot more to it than I thought there was on the surface, if you know what I mean. Like I looked at it and just thought, this is dumb. It's just Resident Evil characters running around the police station shooting each other. Nobody wants that. And then magically turning into monsters. But you actually start playing it, it's like, oh, this is actually cool. You're looking to get the revenge kills. Like, if you to go and chasing down a nemesis as Leon and be like, come here, I've got to kill you because you just killed me. I need those points. Yeah, it's really good. I really like it. I like it in terms of its concept. I want to see more maps. I want to see how they build it out. I think this game kind of needs a battle pass. It needs something to force me to progress. There's nothing worse than playing multiplayer games and there being no form of progression for me in terms of like, it's just wins. It's just a leaderboard of this is how many wins you got. Like, if they actually had like cool skins for each of the characters in a battle pass, or I don't know if they could redo weapons because it would super unbalance the game, but like those type of things, you know, I think it would make it a little bit more special, but I have to wait and see.
The thing, right? I think Resident Evil is one of these franchises that has so much lineage. You can do really great stuff with cosmetics. Like, you have all that back catalog of stuff. Like, even if you have a goofy one that makes them look 16-bit, you know, I know they were never that far back, but like, make them look like they're PS1 quality characters.
Well, done,
or whatever,
yeah, they did that with 2. They've already got that skin made for Resident Evil 2, so that would be super easy to bring it in as well. So
yeah, it's a weird one.
What about you?
I finished It Takes Two.
And
I think it's my game of the year.
Yeah,
so far. We're obviously early on in the year.
I'm still early on, super early on, just because I've been playing Resident Evil Revisited, and that's been eating up all. I've been playing Resident Evil 4. No one wants to hear about me talking about Resident Evil 4. Let me tell you. What, Crash? What?
It's not your favorite Resident Evil game.
How did you find It Takes Two, Matt? I hope you've enjoyed it. Does it just carry on from... I got to the vacuum boss, and that's where I stopped. Does it just carry on? Like, you're to being that good? Yeah, I'm super early,
Yeah, for sure. The interesting thing is, and they've talked about it in interviews and stuff, like, they introduce mechanics for a section of the game, and then those mechanics are gone, and they introduce something totally different. There are levels that are third-person shooters. There are levels that... one character will have like Captain America's shield, essentially. Another character will have a different ability, and you got to figure out how to work together. It's really clever. So, I feel like the very last level overstays its welcome a little bit, and the story is pretty cliche and meh, but the gameplay is so interesting all the way through. And the way they just introduce these, the game totally flips on its head for 20 minutes of gameplay, and then it's back to standard puzzling, and it's like, that, like, how they put so much effort into these weird gameplay mechanics that last so little time, but are so great to drive the game forward. It's thoroughly entertaining. And the way that sort of, if you buy the game, you can then share a free version of it with a friend, so you can play online co-op. Me and my girlfriend played it on the couch together, so we didn't have that. But yeah, it's genius. It is genuinely brilliant. Where they've come from A Way Out to make this, it's a huge leap. For that
Did you like A Way Out?
I thought A Way Out was fine.
Oh, okay.
Like, I thought, it's nowhere near what It Takes Two is. It Takes Two is leaps and bounds ahead of it. Because I think, It Takes Two is a fantasy, whereas A Way Out was very grounded in what it was, right? It's escape from prison and then be on the run. There's only so much stuff you can do with that, but because this is essentially, taking place in a kid's cartoon, you can do whatever you want with it, right? Like, so it's so clever in what it does. It's brilliant.
Crash, you got to play it. You have to. It's a game of the year. It's a game of the year candidate. It's not one of those ones that I'm going to let you not play. I think we'll have to play because I will have the free code thing, so you can play it with me. I guess I'll have to play the opposite way of whatever I've played so far. But yeah, you better play it. It's dude, the beginning part I loved. I just loved that whole opening of the game all the way up to that battle, and I was like, all right. We shot our Let's Play for it. I'm like, I will be back. I promise you. I just have to finish all these Resident Evil games first.
Yeah, I get it. But like the thing I love about it is it does so much more than it needs to. Like, you get to these hub worlds, essentially, where there's like loads of stuff going on. It's like, just go and explore it. And they're way bigger than they need to be and way more detailed than they need to be for a game like that. And it's just brilliant. It's brilliant. I love it.
Let's jump in to topic of the show this week, shall we? This one's literally just come out of nowhere in terms of, I didn't even see it pop up. Chris added it relatively, well, just now, literally before we went live, which is Microsoft and Sony reportedly in a bidding war to buy Square Enix. This one's from Andrew Amos, from Dextor. Is that it? I just say it's well. Say again, Chris. I didn't hear you. Thank you. There you go. Dexter. Okay. Microsoft and Sony. Dexerdo? Oh, yeah. I'm missing the O at the end.
Dexerdo.
Dexerdo. Toe. X. Dex. Toe. Yeah, it makes more sense. Microsoft and Sony are two bidders reportedly vying for a slice of Japanese gaming giant Square Enix. Multiple buyers are interested in buying the publisher, according to an April 16 report by Bloomberg. The report, citing multiple people familiar with the matter, claims that numerous buyers from Japanese and overseas are looking to buy at Square Enix. These include tech giants Microsoft and Sony, according to additional reporting by Shepsel Ed. Sony has worked exclusively with Square Enix in the past, publishing numerous franchises including Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts on the PlayStation consoles. Microsoft, on the other hand, is reportedly expanding its video game division by buying out more than 30 studios in September 2020. Square Enix would be another stirring in the tech giant's gaming bow. Where did they end up going, guys? Matt, if you had to pick one, and no, it's guaranteed they're going to go somewhere. They didn't even have to pick one, because I could totally see Tencent coming out of nowhere and buying these, or someone like that.
That's what I was just thinking.
That's very true.
Where do you think they end up?
If I had to put some money on it, I'd bet they end up at Sony. It's kind of a toss-up between Microsoft and Sony, actually, because Microsoft are dumping so much money into places that I wouldn't be surprised if they can outbid Sony on this. But with sort of the history of Square Enix and stuff, I would probably see it going to Sony if I was going to put money on it.
Interesting. Crash, where would your money be?
If I had to pick one, I feel like the relationship with Sony is like too good. I think Microsoft would have to, but like the thing is, like Microsoft has like an endless like chest of money that they could use. Because like Sony, for Square Enix's price, Sony could definitely afford it. Yeah. I know I saw some people talking about it like, oh, Sony can't even afford Square Enix. Sony could definitely afford Square Enix. The thing is, like, it's easier for Microsoft to put up that money and maybe add even more to get them than it is for Sony. So I don't know. I would say Sony just because of the relationship, but I could easily see it going Microsoft's way.
I want Sony to buy them, not Microsoft. I know.
Why?
Controversial. Because I like the game industry being healthy and competitive. And it's you got to remember, I've been covering Xbox now 5 years. Been doing my Xbox in me, 290 weeks, never missed a week, right? And the early stages of doing this podcast were very painful, like extremely painful. It was experts getting their teeth kicked in week after week after week. And slowly we've seen that change, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Sony have come out and said how they're only focused on AAAs or quadruple A's, how they're going to remake The Last of Us, all this stuff. And they're falling back into their old ways, which then means Microsoft are going to fall back into their old ways of the 360. Like, I don't want an industry where Microsoft can just monopolize everything and own everything. Doesn't mean that their games won't come. They've been very good about that so far. But you know who else was really good at doing things early on? Sony, with indies. And then that changes. Phil Spencer leaves, someone else leaves, and then it's just Microsoft sitting there with everything. From a selfish point of view, I would love it to be Xbox. But for the industry itself, I think Xbox got Bethesda, Sony got Square Enix. I need a reason to keep buying these consoles. I need a reason to keep being in these ecosystems. And again, I'm not a fanboy. I've said this time and time and time again. I cover Xbox because there was a hole in the market to cover Xbox. Like, everyone was covering PlayStation, hence why I'm here. So, for a healthy industry point of view, I would much rather Sony get them. But I also dislike the fact that I know we'd have more a chance of seeing Final Fantasy on PlayStation if Xbox got them still. That's the only thing that sort of would rub me the wrong way, which is like, I'm only just getting a relationship with Final Fantasy, right? But I wouldn't want to see that not come to Xbox. Like, but we're seeing it already with Remake. Like, that's still not on Xbox. I don't know. I think it's this month, right? That exclusivity is meant to be up, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's technically up at this point, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought it was. I can't remember if it's on the case.
Yeah, I think it ended a few days ago.
I knew it was April something. I'm not gonna bother looking. So, but I could see that being I could see that being an E3 announcement. Final Fantasy remake, boom, 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 in-game pass, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like I could see it. I could see it. But yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, go on, Crash.
If Xbox buys Square Enix, do you think those games would come to PlayStation? I don't think so.
No, but there would be more of a chance. Is what I'm saying. I'm not saying no. I don't think so. I think Xbox would buy these and be like, "We've got all the Bethesda games. We've now got all the RPGs, Square whatever games. Type of RPG We've got everything." Like literally, imagine the Kojima deal goes through as well. Like it's getting to an uncomfortable point where for me, for a gamer, like that's like, would I want Xbox to buy Nintendo? No, because Nintendo's so great at being Nintendo, and like we need the competition. As soon as one company gets too comfortable, that's when the problems start to come in. We've seen it time and time and time and time again. We really have. Like, the only way I would want PlayStation like to just get it is if they start putting they turn PS Now into Game Pass. I want places to be affordable for everybody. Again, I sit up in my ivory tower as someone who gets a lot of code. So to me, it's not a big deal. But I never lose sight of the fact that Game Pass for Outriders for people, like, you know how much money that saved them? Like, or got them to have an experience they may not have had. Like, I want the industry to be fair and equal and everyone to be competing. I've got no problem putting my £1,000 or more, I guess, with Nintendo a month into all of these consoles, right? To buy them. Like, I will drop the 500 here, the 500 there, the 350 here for Nintendo's next, I don't know, dog walker. Who knows what they're going to do. But I just don't want it to be a case of like, Microsoft own everything. I still want them to go get more indie devs. I think that would be cool to add to their portfolio. Like these little companies that can make unique experiences for Game Pass. I think that's fantastic. But we're losing some of this like special sauce with these third parties at that point. If you really just go in exclusive everywhere, you know?
I think it's interesting tying it back to sort of last week and the Hideo Kojima news as well. And there was a quote in there, right, about this being a play on Microsoft's part to enter the Japanese market, right? And this kind of backs that up, right? Like 100%. if they're making this kind of play as well, then it kind of all rolls into sort of one ethos and mindset that Microsoft are trying to push into the Japanese market with. And so this could be the sort of second news story along these lines that we see in the next few weeks of other stuff similar coming out. And they're not going to win them all, right? They won't get them all, or maybe they will. But I
mean, I think we've already seen them take an L, though. I think the WB stuff, I generally feel like Microsoft probably did try to pursue WB at some point and was like, oh, no licenses, or they couldn't negotiate the licenses or whatever. I feel like that was one of the L's they took in the trying to buy everything world. And I just want to quickly say before I push you, Crash, which is, so I know Sony have been terrible with what they do, and I really hate their business practices when it comes to their timed exclusives. I think it's stupid to put Final Fantasy Remake for that amount of time. Like, we know games do not sell well after the first 3 to 6 months. That's enough time to make something exclusive. It feels like Sony are petty with their exclusives. We know Final Fantasy 16 is going to be exclusive for a timed amount of time. Don't know why I said timed amount of time. An amount of time. That upsets me as well, by the way. I don't want the listeners to be like, oh, why is he defending Sony? It's like, no, I just want a healthy industry. And I hope people understand that. Chris, what are you going to say?
To be fair, just because like this story is coming out, companies do sort of go on the market to see what their pricing would be and what people would pay for them. So it doesn't even necessarily mean anything is going to come out of this. It doesn't mean anybody will be. What was that? I
could totally see it being another Konami, which is like, we keep pachinkos, we keep making our money off these licenses in terms of, I don't know, films, books, comic books, whatever ornaments, like whatever the Japanese, I know the Japanese market is big for that sort of thing, right? And you guys can deal with the games. Like, I could totally see that being the case. And after the stinker what the Avengers has been, like, it's not terrible, but that should have been the biggest game.
Yeah.
Like, on Earth. So after that, even after Outriders, I don't think they would have got crazy money for Outriders on Game Pass, and I don't think it sold. It's got a lot of players because of Game Pass. I don't think it necessarily sold ridiculously amounts. I think they're getting to a point where, like, all we have is we've got Final Fantasy 14 online, right? That'd be a big money game for them, because that's like you pay monthly for that, if I'm not mistaken. Any Final Fantasy numbers game they put out is big. What else? Like, big. I'm talking big. I'm not talking like small. Even Tomb Raider didn't do well. Like the last one.
Honestly, like, if you look at that, it's all their Western games that don't do well. Like, a lot of their Japanese games, like a lot of their RPGs do well for the market they're aimed at. It's a lot of the Western games, the Tomb Raider, the Avengers, that just don't hit the way that they're expected to. Especially, like, I look at Tomb Raider and I'm like, that game super underperformed in my opinion.
Yeah, the third one especially. I loved one. Yeah. I loved one. 2 going exclusive to Xbox was brilliant for Xbox, terrible for the game. Yeah. And then the third one was done by a different dev that people, as soon as you do that with a third game, people just turn against it. Doesn't matter how good the game is. Like, it's the same with the best Batman game ever made, which is Origins, you know? Like, it's the same with that. As soon as devs put things out there, I'm not trolling, I think Origins is the best Batman game.
He does.
People just turn against it. If you just, you know.
Yep. But Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the worst.
I've not played it.
You're honestly like,
I bought it and not played it. I bought it and was just like, I'm good.
I beat that the week it came out, and after I beat that, I was like, this is why I don't beat that many games. They're just not worth it. Yeah, like, that game's just, there's so much wrong with that game. Honestly, like, the story's not good, the gameplay's okay. That game's such a disappointment, especially after the second one. I think the second Tomb Raider is phenomenal. The first one's all right.
Yeah, I can agree. No, I'm not even doing this.
The first one's story is amazing.
I love both those games. I think both those games are really good. I just, you know. So we reckon PlayStation, all of us, it will end up being PlayStation that buys them if they can.
I think if they can. I think if PlayStation don't and Microsoft do get them, that's a huge loss on PlayStation's part. And you know, I think we're all seeing it, that this kind of almost PS3 style arrogance coming from Sony as of late. Yep. This would be another sort of arrow in that quiver, I think, of just proving that to be true.
To turn the conversation just a second to that, right? When we think about PlayStation, we understand Naughty Dog is the pinnacle of what PlayStation is, right? We all agree on that.
Yeah.
What else do they have?
Santa Monica, you could argue Santa Monica.
So, okay,
but they've
Santa
only put
Monica,
out God of War.
They've made God of War. One game with Guerrilla Horizon. They've made one game.
No, Guerrilla was known for Killzone as well.
Killzone's not good.
According to who?
Me.
According to you. People love Killzone.
No, whatever.
I don't think anybody would be excited about a new Killzone announcement.
Right now, no. But like, you have to look at it as like through Sony's whole life form. Because now what you're doing is you're like, let's look at this back end of Sony and what Sony's done recently. Where you have to look at Sony from the PS3 days all the way to the PS5
But that's what I'm
days.
saying. That's literally what I'm saying. The reason I think we give Naughty Dog is Naughty Dog, right? We understand the lineage of their games and what they have done and what they have created. Even if you are not someone who enjoys Uncharted, there is no way you can look at Uncharted for the time of when it came out and be like, wow, this is remarkable. It's impossible. Like, you can't not do that. But Killzone, you can. You 100, even the old God of War games, you can. I've never played those games. I remember picking up one of the God of War games. I know you love them, and I know PlayStation fans love them, but they're not to the level of which they Activision they are. They're
For
not.
when they came out? Because now what you're doing is you're like looking at them in the current times.
Yeah. No,
like when they came out, they were huge. They were like leaders in that style of gameplay at the time.
I just think sometimes we hold these. The reason why I'm saying this, by the way, is like, Sony are like, we're only focused on AAAs, so they're only focused on 3 games. Like, what are the 4 games? Uncharted, Uncharted, Last of Us, God of War, Horizon. What else do they have then, if that's what they're focused on? Spider-Man, perfect, great one. You're 100% right with that. Okay, 5 games. What else?
They would probably view Ratchet and Clank as a AAA game.
Yeah,
Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo.
Okay.
I'm sure there are plenty of people screaming in the comments now.
Ghost of Tsushima now. Okay. Yeah. I'm putting this out there as a conversation piece. I'm not saying I disagree with you.
No,
you're right.
I understand.
I think you're right, actually.
I understand.
But again, I'm looking at Sucker Punch and I go, all right, Sucker Punch, Ghost of Tsushima is fantastic. I was never into Infamous. Never could get into Infamous.
Infamous was amazing. Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but you were always... I feel like you were always on the outside with PlayStation, especially then, because you were covering Xbox. You were super focused on Xbox.
I had a PS3. I play exclusive. I play everything, baby. I play everything.
As long as I've known you, yes, you've played everything, but you've also been very heavy on playing everything more so than you used to be.
I play everything.
More so now than you used to.
Never get it twisted.
And you know that's true. You know that's 100% a true statement.
I don't know what you're talking about. Do you get what I'm saying, though? I just 100%. Worry.
No, I absolutely get it. But I think...
yeah.
I think what we're like when we talk AAA, we talk Last of Us and we talk God of War. But for Sony, Sony might look at Returnal and Sony, like the amount of money Sony's putting into Returnal, Sony might be like, internally for us, that is a AAA game. Ghost of Tsushima for us is a AAA game. Of course, yeah. There are new experiences they're putting money into that they can view as AAA games, right? It all depends on what they view and they classify as a AAA game. I think is the big thing, because we're looking at AAA games as super successful, and I don't think that's necessarily the right definition.
That's fair. All right, we'll move on. I'll allow it. In the courtroom this week. We're only going to take one question from Fix a Sack. We'll read the rest of them next week. And it says, "Hey gang, who added the broken gamer in there for me? Who did that? Me. I respect you.
The broke gamer.
The broke gamer. Let me tell you, I respect you a lot. Hey Fix and gang, what do you think of the alleged meeting between Nintendo and Xbox? Is it simple as working out a deal for Xbox Game Pass on Switch? Or could it be something we don't see coming, like Master Chief in Smash or something?" From the broke gamer. Thank you very much, broke gamer, for the question. Matt, hit me.
I would flip those two around. I think it's way more likely that they're talking about Master Chief coming to Switch than it is them putting Game Pass on Switch. I think them putting Game Pass on Switch would be something that Xbox would love. I don't think it'll ever happen. I think maybe you get some sort of xCloud app on Switch. Potentially, maybe. But even that, I think, is a long shot.
No, because there's no money made there.
Yeah.
xCloud,
I think with Nintendo, it's the same thing as Sony. The only way they'll put Game Pass on that platform is if they're like, you can only put your exclusives, any third-party game that we could sell on our platform. We don't want there. And I don't think Microsoft looks at that. Microsoft's like, no, I'm good. We don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Because then they lose all reason for somebody to invest into their platform, into their ecosystem.
I generally think this could be something so small that got blown up into such a huge proportion of like, people love to run with a narrative, and we could get to E3 and I could totally be wrong, and I'm like a pie in my face type situation. But I think this could be, because I see Jez from Windows Central like sort of not hyping it up, but like alluding to the fact it might be something more, but he's not quite saying like much, so we just don't know. But yeah, there's no way that Game Pass is going on Switch. There is no way. I don't believe it. I don't see where is the business sense of that for Nintendo?
Yeah.
They're taking away that would be taking away attention from their games and their software. And at the end of the day, they need to sell software to make money just as much as they need to sell Mario and all the other games, right? So to me, go on. Well, Matt.
I don't think this is the case, right? But what if they said, hey, every £15 a month subscription that goes through on the Switch, Nintendo get £14 of it. Xbox will take $1. Xbox don't necessarily want the money from there. No, they just want people on the service from there. And so what if they said that? What if they said, hey, Nintendo, keep all the money? That's crazy, right? That'll never happen. But if you want a business case, there it is.
I see where you're at with the idea of it. The numbers would be very different.
Yeah.
Also, you have the problem of what if somebody signs up for it on PC and plays on their Switch? How do you like
that's
deem
where
like,
the problem is.
now Nintendo gets that money? How does that work out?
You count the amount of hours each month that they're playing on, and you give the money to the platform that has the most.
Too much
hours.
Work.
I think that's a bad deal. Whoever makes that deal.
Too much work.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
Of course, yeah.
Next one, you get it.
I don't see how it benefits Nintendo. I think that's when you look at Bethesda deal and all these other deals that we've seen, like it makes sense. Even Square, it makes sense. Like the business ramification makes sense. Game Pass going on Switch to me doesn't make sense for Nintendo. It makes perfect sense for Xbox, which is get their Game Pass everywhere, which has always been what they've said, right? But I generally think you've got more chance of this being not even Master Chief. I can see you seeing Doom Guy now going in there. All this Bethesda properties they now have got of like, we'll put that in Smash. Like
I would love the Vault Boy.
Yeah, Vault Boy, something like that.
You also have to remember that Xbox owns Minecraft, and this could just be something for Minecraft. Sure. Like, hey, we want to put Mario in Minecraft or whatever it is.
That's already been done.
It could be something like that.
It could be as simple as, hey, remember when we were all on stage at the Game Awards? Let's do something like that for E3, or it could be anything, couldn't it? It could just be,
or it could be Mario. No, not Mario. Yeah, Mario Rabbids type game, but in Gears of War style.
That's what Mario Rabbids is.
Yeah, but I'm saying
I'm confused.
I'm
like a green Mario Rabbids
shooter. Like a fluid third. I was thinking tactics. Okay.
No, not tactics. I'm saying Mario is now in Gears, and it's Gears third-person shooter. Because we've seen him hold a gun now.
Sense.
Why can't he run around and shoot people? As long as he's not killing them and he's eliminating them. And he's got himself a lancer. He chainsaws the guy in half, and then he just pixelate out.
It does the Sonic thing where when you kill them, they turn into little animals.
Exactly.
And you're really just freeing the animals. It makes sense. I like where your head's at, Fix.
I'm just saying that's what it actually was. It wasn't any of the things we just spoke about. All right. You're welcome.
I love it. I want to see it. I'm all in.
This week's dashboard, the Resident Evil showcase happened. Guys, obviously, I was super excited for it. 25th anniversary of Resident Evil's happened, so there was plenty to speculate on what could be here. Did you both watch it?
It was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it?
Did you watch it, or did you not? Did you miss it? Yeah,
I watched it and I was like, oh, okay, a lot of 8 stuff, a lot of demos, all coming out at different times. I don't really get it. And then I went to Twitter and they were like, they just announced Resident Evil 4.
Oh, you
VR.
missed
and I
it.
was like, well, why wasn't that?
It was in there. So let me explain it to you, because you're a Sony pony, and we've now found that out about you because you watched Sony's press conference, didn't you?
Press Square. Didn't you?
What a muppet. You're a muppet. That's
He's
why.
Out. Fix. We gotta cut that.
I'm ready for him to go. I'm ready for him to go.
We'll start it up, just me and you.
Sony cut it out of their version.
Oh, weird. Okay.
And IGN's version and all the other people who were covering the full thing had it in. So I got to see Resident Evil 4 on the Oculus 2, the big announcement. While you scrubs, I watched Kind of Funny's reaction to it, and it just sort of abruptly ends. And I was just like, is that what they did? Like, what the hell?
That's what I was watching. That's what I watched this morning.
Okay, devil's advocate real quick. It 100% makes sense why Sony wouldn't want to show a
100%
Oculus game.
Yes, it
is very weird that they wouldn't like add an actual ending to it if it ends abruptly.
Again, it's Sony, that little bit of arrogance, they're letting it slip. Resident Evil 7 was on PSVR and it was a big deal.
Yep.
And now you've got a remaster of 4 coming to a VR unit that isn't PlayStation, and it's
I understand why they didn't show it. I totally understand it.
Oh, of course.
I wouldn't be surprised if Facebook was like, here's a bunch of money, give us a game.
That's what it was.
100%. But also, like, we know Resident Evil 8 isn't on PSVR and isn't doing any VR stuff, and it's because PSVR can't keep up now. And so if you're going to make an experience and you want it to be as good as possible, yes, put it on Quest 2 or an Oculus device. So,
or Sony's planning to announce a new version of PSVR, and that announcement.
They are. They've already announced that. They've already announced that, so they're definitely going to. But this was definitely a case of Facebook went to Capcom, was like, what can we work on for you? And was like, what game would work? You got to think, the Wii is pretty much already there, that version of the game. So if you can update that and then throw us in VR for it, perfect. There it is. Like,
it looks sick as well.
It looks like a VR game.
Fix's favorite Resident Evil game right there.
I hate you guys. Let me get through the show.
He's probably excited for it.
So stuff that actually matters to this podcast, the Resident Evil Village demo, the new one with the action, is going to be out next week on all platforms. For Europe, May 2nd. For North America, May 1st. Don't ask me why. Asia, May 2nd as well. No, but it's not time zones. It's just stupidness. Because it's 5 p.m. North America, 2 a.m. CST. Bun that.
It's literally time zones.
I don't believe in time zones. I don't believe in time zones, Crash.
It's literally time
Crash.
zones. What time do you think it is for me right
Crash. Now? Yo, Crash. For you, it's 11:06, like it is for me.
Oh, you're right. Time zones don't exist.
They don't exist in my head. I told you guys. Time zones don't exist. But yeah, Village demo is April 17th. The Castle demo is April 24th. You get to play it for an hour, I think they said. No, 30 minutes. Sorry, it's a limited time of 30 minutes. Yeah. I'm worried because this is already going to get hacked, which means you're going to be able to play it longer than that, which means hardcore fans are going to find everything and know every single puzzle. 100%. And I'm a bit worried. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. That happened with Resident Evil 2 remake, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe they went through and they were like, we're going to add some precautions to this and stop people from doing that. Because Resident Evil 3 didn't work this way, correct?
Did we even get a demo? We did get a demo for free.
It had a demo, yeah, but it ended
was
at
just
a certain
that very
spot.
tiny.
Yeah.
Sort of went to the donut shop and then ran back and then it sort of ended. That was kind of all it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Resident Evil. I love the demos. I don't get why they've done 2 lots of demos. I get one was like, have a look at the set pieces, and now we've got the action one, where I'm just a bit like, leave me wanting more. Don't give me too much. And as a Resident Evil fan, I can't not play it, so it's really hard for me.
I think with it being half an hour, it's not bad. Because you have to remember,
I'm going to break it and get more than half an hour.
I understand, but for like with the Resident Evil 2 demo for me, like I don't know if I would have been as excited for that game had I not played for that demo.
Okay.
So I think you're viewing it from like the hardcore player perspective, from where the casual player, I think that 30-minute demo will be enough to get them into it and be hyped and excited for that.
Fair enough.
I don't understand it. I don't know who's on the fence about Resident Evil 8 and is thinking, oh, I'll play the demo, and then is being converted into a purchasing customer. I don't understand who that person is and why we need 12 demos for a game. And
12. It's only 2. All right, I'm not going to let you start. You come on you come on this podcast, Matt. You respect.
3.
Why is it 3?
There's 3. The showcase. There's the castle, and there's the other one.
2 parts of the demo.
Okay.
2.5.
Technically, you're right, because I think you get an hour in total, and if you want, you can waste that whole hour.
Spend the whole time in the castle. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's 2 demos. All right. Let's not do this. Okay. Resident Evil's lineage has always had demos. It's something the speedrunners learn to run. It's part of the history of Resident Evil. Like, I don't...
The one thing
5
that
and 6 get them?
What?
I don't know. I don't know 4, 5, and 6.
5 had a demo, if I'm mistaken. Yeah.
Okay, so they...
Oh, you're right. 6 had a demo as well.
They did. Resident Evil is all, I think... I'm not saying that because I might be wrong. But I'm pretty sure most Resident Evil games have always had demos. So they're always going to do demos, all right? It's not that I don't get. I don't get the 8-hour exclusivity on PlayStation.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Weird.
Just throw them any bone they can get, right? Like
there was also a circle jerk of developers, like of just PlayStation. Why not introduce it as like our history is on PlayStation and blah 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 blah, and here are some of the PlayStation heads talking about it instead of like the best in the industry or whatever their wording was. And I was just like, this is just PlayStation people.
You want to know? I don't know. I feel like that comes down to like whatever deal they struck. Because I feel like if you want to do this whole segment of like, we've been with Sony for that price probably goes up more than just, it's probably. PlayStation, calling PlayStation the best platform, and being like, that's where it's at first and whatever. Like hyping Sony up and like talking about that lineage definitely has a bigger price tag.
Probably.
I also...
Go on.
Sorry, go on.
No, please.
I was going to say, I want to take back a little bit of what I said because they did encourage people to stream the demo, and so I get that. It's a good marketing ploy from that point of view.
Yeah. We got the second story trailer, which mainly focuses on Ethan, a man we've never seen his face. and I still dislike him as a character. What did you guys think of the trailer? Did you enjoy it? Did it get you any more hype for it? It did nothing for me. As a big Resident Evil fan, it was just a bit like, oh, these. I like seeing more of the Lycans. I like seeing more of the werewolf stuff. I liked the whole him getting his hand cut and her drinking the blood from his hand. That was really cool.
They know what they're doing now. They know they're playing into that creepy, horny audience.
Yes, definitely. But I could have lived without it. I could have been fine and just seen these moments for myself, especially the moment of him getting dragged across the floor. Like it's just not going to hit the same. But the other part of me that says like, shut the hell up and just play the video game is they've said this is probably going to be the longest Resident Evil game to history. So maybe we're literally just seeing the openings of all this game. I don't think so.
I think they would brag about that if that was the case. They would say, hey, everything we've shown you so far happens in the first 2 hours of this 25-hour-long game, whatever.
I don't think they would, especially like if they want to keep suspense. They don't tell you. They wouldn't tell you that everything's in the beginning. Because you have to remember, a big thing about Resident Evil is suspense. And if they reveal that all that stuff's in the beginning, then you expect it all in the beginning. Whereas you might see Ethan getting dragged or whatever, but you don't know when that's going to happen pop up. So there still is that sort of suspense factor of like, when's this happening, as opposed to like knowing everything.
Yeah,
I need to play 7. I need to get it downloading. I need to play it.
That's not even a question. Like, go and play 7. You've got time.
Do I play it in VR?
No.
Is there any point?
No.
Okay. I'm glad you said that because I didn't want to break it out.
I've heard it's good in VR, to be fair.
I've heard it's fantastic in VR, but I've never played it. No, that's a lie. I did play it on VR, but at EGX. I just don't think that's an experience you can sustain in VR without it becoming too much. So I would just experience it on Game Pass, on your Xbox, get those achievements, enjoy it. Resident Evil Mercenaries returns to the series, which is nice.
That looks great.
It looks like it's been fledged out a little bit more than a normal mercenary mode. The good thing about this is just more content. That's the big thing for me, where like Resident Evil is notorious for like you beat the game. If you're into speedrunning, you get a lot out of it, and if you're not, you're done with it. That's it, it's done. So I like the fact that we're getting, if the versus mode actually turns out to be decent, like the versus mode, and then you've got mercenaries mode, like it just gives you that level of like building upon it. It looks like it's done well. You've got the upgrade system. It looked fun. At least to me.
I'm a little bit worried about Capcom jumping into adding multiplayer modes and versus modes and the mercenary mode and like really focusing on it. If it stays just to Resident Evil and if Capcom does it right, like I don't think there's a problem, but it just gives me like striking resemblance of like when developers were just throwing multiplayer into everything and like, hey, we don't know if this will be good or bad. Here's just another feature to buy our game, where I feel like you take away resources from like what might be the main attraction of that game.
Mercenaries has actually been good in previous Resident Evil games, to give credit where credit is due. But I agree with you, Resident Evil 6 had that, where it was like, here's a versus mode, here's a mercenaries mode, here's a time mode, and you're like, what the is this crap? And it had achievements, which was even worse. But yeah, I don't feel too bad about this, just because Mercenaries has been gone for a long time. So it's nice to have it come back. And the way it looked like it was done right. It had a few things I didn't like. I didn't like the health bar above the enemies in this. That takes away all of the suspense if you know when an enemy's about to die. Like, unless you're like a nerd like me who like knows
you can probably turn
shots. It off. Yeah, hopefully. I'd hope so. Yeah. I'd hope so. But yeah, I'll definitely give it a try.
And just to be fair, I wasn't like necessarily just referencing the mercenary mode.
No, yeah.
I think with the way you talked about what's the
versus literally
versus. I was like, it's something, yeah. Versus the way you're talking about that, it seems like they're taking the right steps for these games. It's just they're walking into murky territory if they start doing this with all their games and trying to fit modes into all their other games.
As somebody who hasn't played 7, that Mercenaries trailer bit got me quite hyped. It gave me sort of Call of Duty Zombies vibes, and I've been enjoying that recently-ish. Nothing like that?
No.
Or you just don't like Call of Duty Zombies?
No, Call of Duty Zombies is... You're talking about new Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. No, this is nothing like that. This is going to be... You're going to get a time limit, and you have to work your way through the map to get to the end in a certain time. whether you go to the shop and upgrade guns along your journey, picking up health and stuff like that. That's what it is. But it's going to be more linear than what a zombies is, because zombies, especially the new zombies, is super open, big area. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think this is going to be very much tighter corridors, tighter areas, and you're going through those.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I could be wrong.
I was also watching it, wishing it was multiplayer. But
no.
Yeah, jump in with you and run through that.
Definitely not.
Fix would be like, you'd ruin my experience. This is supposed to be my alone time with my favorite franchise. What are you doing?
Bro, do you know how angry I was when they added co-op to 5? It hurt. The last thing that mattered for us anyway, you both suck. I'm not talking about it. Resident Evil Dead by Daylight collaboration was announced as well. Dead by Daylight is getting a collaboration event with Resident Evil. Behavior Interactive will reveal the Resident Evil chapter on May 25th during the Dead by Daylight 5th anniversary stream. The Collaboro chapter will be released in June. Give me Nemesis as a killer. Or Tyrant. That would be dope.
There was a little audio hint at the end of it. It just sounded like a zombie.
Yeah, I don't want just a zombie. I want Nemesis or
a Tyrant. It would be bizarre if it was just a zombie.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a zombie. It would be something big. Make it Wesker. Just throw it completely left field. Make it Wesker.
Anyone but Wesker.
Resident Evil 5 Wesker.
He'd be OP as fuck, let me tell you. I really want an excuse to go back to Dead by Daylight, because we actually played a fair bit of it, Crash. Me, you, Haley, FNH Paul played with us. Matt, you'd love it. Like, I've
never touched it. Yeah.
It's a fun experience. It's a really fun experience. And anything that can get me in. They did the Silent Hill collaboration not too long ago. So I'll definitely be jumping back in to get whatever it is, the charms and stuff. So we'll play it on Xbox, and you can join us. It'd be fun.
I'm down.
Let's move on to our next news piece. We're going to have to skip a few of these. So we'll do a couple quickly just because we've gone long. I like the conversation. It's been flowing. Resident Evil resolutions frame rates have been revealed. For Xbox Series X, 4K HDR 60 FPS. With ray tracing, it's 4K HDR 45 frames. Xbox Series S is 144p HDR 45 frames. With ray tracing, it's 144p 1040. Yeah, I'm getting that right. I got done in the comments once for that, guys. I got done in the comments. Like, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, because you said 140p.
HDR 30 FPS on Xbox One, 1080p 60 FPS in high resolution 4K HDR 30 FPS for Xbox One. Sorry, that was One X. This is Xbox One, 900p 30 FPS. Jesus, we got through it. Best place to play.
45.
Weird.
It's very weird. I don't feel like I've ever seen a game be like 45 FPSs or like
locked at 45. Yeah. Very strange.
Very odd. I wonder if it'll look odd as a viewer. Like, because if you're used to 30 or 60, seeing a 45 could be weird. It could be off-putting, possibly.
Honestly, I hate to be this guy. I think I'm just going to play on PC. I need frames, especially for speedrunning. I've already bought the game on the Xbox as well, by the way. Let me make that very clear. I bought the £200 special edition. So,
you mug.
So Matt's on PlayStation. Fix is on PC. I think I need new co-hosts.
Come on, don't do me like that. This is like the only game that I get like frame rate twitches about. Just because I know for speedruns.
That's the knife.
Yeah, dude. I can't have that issue again, bro.
It's just that knife.
I know. I can't have it. I just can't. It gets in my head and plays with me. It lives rent free in my head, the knife, honestly. One, we're not going to cover the full story, but Outriders inventory wipe prevention patch is now available. It should restore your items, and that's coming later. Apex Legends teases new character, new location as Respawn celebrates 100 million players.
Huge.
Wild. That is what... Dude, Chris, do you remember? I remember us talking about Apex when it first got announced with that little teaser. I had it up in my corner of my stream, just waiting for something to happen. And then the game gets announced, and I remember this being like, this ain't gonna last. There's no way this lasts.
I remember everybody saying that.
Yeah.
But I also remember everybody jumping into the game right away and being like, wow, this is actually like a really fun game, and it does a lot. You have to remember, like, before that, pinging wasn't really a thing.
Yep.
How we're so accustomed to pinging in all these games. That was Apex Legends. Reviving in BRs wasn't a thing. That was Apex Legends. Like, we could, like, Apex Legends, I feel like, deserves a lot more credit than it gets for a lot of the state of BRs right now and multiplayer games in general.
Well, it's affected every BR, right? Like, maybe not PUBG. I've not played in a long time, so I don't know the full ins and outs of what's going on with that. But yeah, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I'm happy for them though. They've been able to stand the test of time, which is nice. Which is nice. Next one, Ubisoft Forward E3 2021 conference announced. Ubisoft announced on their Twitter that they will be doing their Ubisoft Forward June 12th at 12 p.m. PT. They are a part of the Fire, which is lit, E3 2021. I'm so happy E3's back, guys.
Yeah, I honestly, like, thinking back on this past year and like the summertime events, and none of it hit. Like, none of it, no matter how much like I wanted a lot of that stuff to hit, it just didn't, and it felt like an empty summer. Especially
a summer where like we're all stuck indoors. So like, obviously the reason why it didn't hit was because of COVID, but we needed it even more so because of COVID. It was just like a weird one. Just so people are aware, because some people are getting mad confused in my Discord. No, I'm not a part of this. Would I like to be a part of it? 100%. Yes, I did just do some work with Ubisoft on their GTV channel. So if you haven't caught that, I'm on an episode of GTV. So go check out the trailer. I'm in that as well, which is obviously a huge moment for me. That was the thing I was teasing not too long ago when I was on set and stuff, which was a weird experience. Maybe I'll talk about it someday. Someone will interview me and talk about it. But yeah, it's weird. But no, I'm not a part of this. So please do not think I'm a part of it. Unless they want to hire me, and I'll definitely be a part of it. Please. I'd love to. Absolutely love to.
Fix is working E3 confirmed here, guys.
I don't even know if I'll get a media badge for like the online stuff. Like,
is there a media badge for the online stuff?
There will be. Yeah, because they're going to still need to do interviews, and they're still going to need to do all that stuff. This is going to be my first year going to E3.
Wow, it's going to be a lot of people's first year going to E3.
Can't believe it. I should get my credentials. We can all go.
Honestly.
We can all go as a team.
That's true.
You know?
Honestly, this is probably like a throwback to the past E3s where like the only way most people interacted with the E3 was online by watching the stream back when it was like super industry event.
Yep.
So maybe this is what E3's needed in a long time, you know, where it isn't this consumer bait. Look, Fix, I'm trying to be hopeful for E3.
No.
Just let me be hopeful.
I need to go to America and go to E3. It's a dream. I have to.
Well, hopefully it goes well this year.
Hopefully. Last story this week, which is some classic Ubisoft games will lose multiplayer later this year. The reason I've added this one because it actually touches really close to heart for me. Which I'm not gonna. The list of games are Assassin's Creed 2, Prince of Persia, Forgotten Sands, Far Cry 2, Anno 1404, Magic and Might and Magic, Clash of Heroes, Splinter Cell Conviction, The Settlers 7, Might and Magic X Legacy. Not all of these games will have multiplayer modes, but will still be affected by the way Ubisoft is removing online support. The big one for me, obviously, that is getting removed is Rainbow Six Vegas 2, Rainbow Six Lockdown, Ghost Recon Future Soldier. They will all lose their multiplayer modes. For people who don't know, like my whole gamer tag is because of Rainbow Six Vegas 2. That's where I met my XOB friends, and I spent a ridiculous amount of time making... This was my first experience of really making friends with people online. Like, was Rainbow Six Vegas. To have a clan... I remember like asking my mum for the money of like, Mama, I need to change my gamer tag. Can I have some money? She's like, you want to change your name? I'm like, yeah, it costs like £8. She's like, fine, whatever. Shout out to XOB Patriot, XOB Sparks, XOB Spoonie. Like, we used to run Rainbow Six Vegas. I remember waking up at I remember asking my mum, would it be okay for me to wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, because they were all American, to play in the American servers in do you remember MLG, like the leaderboard stuff they used to do, all that? Yeah. I remember waking up and be like, Mum, is it alright if I wake up at 4 and play? Like, I might be a little bit late, I'm sorry. And she was just like, no. And I'm like, I don't really have a choice, Mum. I'm part of the clan. I have to. And then she was just like, oh, just do what you want. Just don't be too loud. Like, my mum, as much as I love my mum, she's amazing. She doesn't have a clue about what gaming is and stuff like that. So she just knew that I was not outside on the streets with all the gangbangers. So it was like, yeah, all right, it's fine. Just do what you want. You're being safe. It's fine. So shout out to my mum as well. But yeah, this one hits. This one hurts a little bit.
Yeah,
this one does hurt.
Yeah, me too. I have such fond memories of the vault in Rainbow Six Vegas and Kill House and those maps. And blind firing snipers around corners and stuff like it was so good back in the day. The customization as well that game had was awesome, and
I bought a camera for that.
I put so many hours into it. I did as well. I remember playing a game and seeing one of the people on the enemy's team had obviously scanned in a Halloween mask, and I just thought, oh, that's the coolest thing ever. It was like the Scream mask.
Yeah.
And I bought the camera and tried to do it for ages. It didn't work. And it was crap, and it was awful.
But I did get Uno. I did get Uno with the camera, so I was very happy.
Yeah,
I was very happy. Yep.
Is there an easy way to get back into Vegas before they shut it down? When are they shutting it down? I want to go back for a couple of games.
What's the exact date? Let me see if I can see
June 1st. June 1st, they're shutting it down. Oh, no,
wait. We could do it.
Yeah. June 1st.
We could do it. Should we go in? Should we? What about if we shoot like a Let's Play and we just do we don't do we do what's it called? A terrorist hunt. Yes. It's just us lot. We jump in and we just do what I know you hate terrorist hunt, Crash. I know.
Yes, please.
I know.
I know. I just gotta be. I don't know. Not even that. I just gotta get something off my chest. You guys talk about Rainbow Six Vegas. I've never played Rainbow Six Vegas.
What, Vegas 2?
Yeah, no, I've never played it. I've never played a Rainbow Six game other than Siege. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
How can we get back? Is it on Game Pass? It's not on Game Pass, is it?
Yeah, it is. Or I might even have a code for it. I remember. Oh, I hate you.
Why do you hate me,
dude? That was my life. I never played it. That was my.
You know what's funny?
I used to put a sniper scope on my shotgun and just pop around the corner and just go, pshoo, and just bullets would just fly everywhere. But yeah, I'm the best.
Yeah,
I'm figuring out a way to get this weekend.
You know what's particularly funny, Fix? Like, particularly funny? You were MLG in Rainbow Six Vegas 2, but you still trash in Rainbow Six Siege. So why?
You know that's not true. I'm better than you. So stop.
I am awful.
Oh,
awful.
I'm sick. I'm amazing. Every now and then I go, what, you want to do this? Do you want to do this?
What you want me fix?
Can't we all just be friends and go play Terrorist Hunt in a 10-year-old game, please?
Yes.
Okay, we could.
Yes,
do that.
we can.
I'd be
1v1 you. 1v1 you. There's some Sea of Thieves news, which is the new season of Sea of Thieves started. Go check it out. Sea of Thieves, great game. Games with gold this month. You have for April 2021, Viking Wolves of Midgard, April 1st to April 30th. Truck Racing Championship, April 16th to May 15th. Dark Void, available April 1st to April 15th. And wait, it's gone. It's gone. You missed it. And Hard Corps Uprising, available April 16th to April 30th. I'm terrible with dates.
I'll take it out for you for next week. It's gone.
Thanks. I'm going to be honest. I feel like every week we should come in here and talk about how the games with gold isn't worth it anymore.
Every week we're just going to come with shit on it.
Yeah, until they change it. Yeah.
Until we get a decent game added. Like,
it is crap.
Yeah. And then we're going to give it praise that one month.
I'm glad we all agree that's terrible.
Because it's been pretty I can't remember the last game that was like, oh, I can't believe they added
Resident Evil.
I can't believe the game. I don't know the last game that people were like, wow, I can't believe they added that.
Resident Evil.
Disrespect.
I can't believe
I'm pretty sure I heard you the first time, Fix.
Oh, you did? Okay. I didn't know if I got lag, I didn't know if I cut out or anything.
Yeah. No. I heard you. I chose to ignore you purposefully.
Interesting. Let's plug.
I like it when mummy and daddy fight.
Oh, mate, it's ridiculous. Let's plug and get ourselves out of it. Matt P, where can people find you and what have you got to promote this week?
Just follow me on Twitter at MattPVideo. You can even follow me on TikTok if you want at MattPVideo. Ooh.
I've got a bone to pick with you.
What's up?
Was you in my chat or something? Me, you, and the nanobiologist all had the same idea. Literally,
what, doing little
to cover
gaming news
on TikTok. In that I said it in my chat early on, yeah. Then Nano come in was like, "Oh yeah, I'm working on this show to cover news, blah blah blah." And then I literally went on TikTok, and you popped up on my For You page, so I followed you, I was like, "What the hell? He took my concept," which isn't my concept, by the way. Loads of people do it, but I was just like,
"I've only done a couple.
Keep doing it."
Well, what I was good. Do you want to do like a My Xbox and Me one, and we'll just bang them out on there, and we'll just share an account?
Oh, that's not bad.
My people to your people. That's a really good idea.
Let's talk about it off podcast.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I like that. Crash, where can people find you?
You know what?
We'll talk about it off. We'll talk about it off.
You can find me on Twitter at CrashnickPlays. Just a quick side note, real quick. Somebody, and I can't remember who it was, and I told people I'd shout them out for feedback, and I feel bad for not remembering who it was. They mentioned talking about Game Pass games, picking a game a week.
I got so funny. Yeah, they were in my chat, and I was like, pass that information on to Matt P and Crash, because I do not have time to play a Game Pass game once a week.
I was gonna say the only way that I could make it work is if I play a game for an hour, and then I give my opinions off of an hour, and whether I'd play it for more than an hour. Because I feel like with the time I'd have to put into a Game Pass game.
Well, technically, you did that this week with Octopath Traveler.
That is true. But to do that every week, like right now, where there's not a lot of games, it'd be easy for me to. Like,
bro, exactly. Do you know what's we've got so much coming. This is the one. I love the feedback. I love it every single week, and please keep it coming. But sometimes some things come out, I'm like, it's just not practical. We've all got jobs, we've all got other responsibilities that we do, right? I'm streaming bloody Warzone 10 times a week or whatever the game is of that moment for Twitch algorithm gods. It's just like playing games is just not like watching films. So you just don't have time to really jump in and just play one game. I would like to do something like, maybe we could do it as like a Let's Play or like something like that. And then maybe we're able to feed that back through or a live stream or something, and we feed that back through the podcast as well, where we all play a multiplayer game on Game Pass or something like that. But otherwise, it's too much of a time sink, I feel like. But I can't remember who it was either. Who was it? Damn it.
I can't remember. I remember I saw it on Discord or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was.
I was like, oh, that's.
It might have been.
I think so.
But
I think so.
Yeah.
So what I will try to do is next week and the week after that is play an hour of a game, come back with my thoughts on that hour, and be like, hey, would I want to play this game, and will I play this game for more than an hour? And
got one
come with that, because I think,
I played a little bit of, I think it's called Your Grace.
Yeah, Your Grace. Yeah.
If you like Game of Thrones and you like a game that kicks the living shit out of you and you can't do anything right in, play that game.
I think it's Yes Your Grace, right? Is it called Yes Your Grace?
Something like that. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, I know the game you're talking about.
It's depressing as hell. It's one of those games where like you make decisions to run your town. You can't do anything right. Give up on that hope. There's no winning this game. It's miserable, but it's got that Game of Thrones vibe, and it's all right.
Thumbs up. Okay. I feel like that's the only way we'd be able to get it done. Because like putting
that short.
No, because like otherwise it'd be us like trying to like actually like critique these games, and if you don't put enough time, I think that's 100%. Unfair to the game, right?
Yeah,
and the developer. So I think this would be the fairest way. If you guys don't like that idea and that's not something you guys want to see, let us know, please.
Don't tell me. I told you. Tell Crash. Don't at me.
Put it on the Discord.
I love it when people at me to tell you guys. I'm like, just at them, okay? You can find me over at MC Fixer. My big thing this week, I guess, is the Ubisoft/GTV thing that I did. I'm in the trailer, so go check it out. I think it's just GTV, but it's lowercase g TV capitals on YouTube. You can find them on socials as well, and they're all over my profile. I was a part of that. It was like my first ever TV budget experience thing, which was weird. It was super weird. Like they had makeup and they had like catering.
Oh wow, really? It looked really good. The trailer they put together, like it looked
fantastic, dude.
Nice.
big shout out to Ubisoft. Number one, big shout out to Timmy, who's the person who put me forward for it. Big shout out to him. But like, big shout out to Ubisoft for like wanting to elevate the UK's game scene. It's something that I've been super vocal about and frustrated with in terms of like the US. We see all these. We see in Canada they've got not GTV. What is it? It's what's Tesla a part of and all that lot?
Oh, G4 TV.
G4. And then in America, I think they've just already got a big hold on the gaming industry media. Yeah. And like we need these platforms. We need them, especially as like creators and stuff like that. We need them in a space to just be fun. Being on set was like so fun. Just everyone's super happy, cheerful, happy-go-lucky. The only thing that spoiled it was having to wear a mask the whole damn time because COVID. But I need that experience again. So yeah, it was dope. It was dope. But that has been my Xbox to me this week. Me and Matt are going to have a meeting about TikToks. And until next time, I will love you, leave you, and see you all later, guys. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.